In Baytown, wine's got teeth. It bites. It bruises. And if you don't know your tannins from your toes, well, someone else will be polishing off your last vintage, if you catch my drift. At the center of this fermented little universe, that be Don Vino, the godfather of grapes. You don't move a bottle in Baytown unless the Don says so. Enter Tony the Grape.
Don Vino.
Ask 10 people what Tony does. You'll get 10 answers. Ask Tony, and you'll get 11. He's a rat with a palate.
Got something new for you. Something bold. Something with character. Another knockoff? Nah, the real thing. A Sangiovese. From Cali.
You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding with an Italian grape not from Italy? You got guts, kid. I'll give you that. Sal Two-sips Romano, the Don's right-hand man. Never takes more than 2 sips of anything, and if he don't like it, somebody disappears. Well, kid, today's your lucky day. I'm gonna make you an offer you're not gonna be able to refuse.
The grapes you love, the places you never expect. Little Italy, only at Baytowne.
Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. This is Unpoured Perspectives. Today, you've got myself, Joel, we've got Kevin, and joining us today, we have Lucas Smith from Baytowne Spirits. How's it going, Lucas?
Doing well. Thank you guys very much for having me.
Glad you could be on. So, your title at Baytowne is technically Spirit Specialist.
Yeah.
But you mentioned you use it a little bit interchangeably with Spirits Director. How does that work?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. A big part of it is that we're a real small crew. Effectively, we have basically like 5 full-timers. And the way that that gets split up is that we have a sommelier on staff who's like, he of course handles all of our wine and directs most of the wine buying. And so then his title is kind of like, will be somewhat interchangeable as well, but often he goes by like wine director. So then like he and I had talked, and just in terms of like, um, to have that balance between ourselves, I guess I sometimes will go by spirits director, but like when I was hired on the papers, it says spirit specialist. So it's kind of just one of those things. But yeah, kind of just in terms of like fulfilling those two opposite roles, I guess you could say.
So, I'm seeing another credential here, Consigliere or Two-sips Romano. Does that ring a bell?
Yes. Yeah, that's another thing that is a little bit unique to Baytown, that we have a lot of good times with, which is that especially Drew, who is the our wine director, our sommelier. He's very, very good at like directorial stuff for our little skits and whatnot. So we've done a lot of like much more involved videos than you'd expect for like advertisements and stuff. But we have a good time with it, and we always try to do something that's like like an aesthetic or and that was the very much the like gangster movie type one. So that was fun.
So,
I
we'll
will
put
I will certainly link them in the show notes.
That's
But
appreciated.
for our listeners, you definitely should follow at Baytown Wine on Instagram, and you definitely should go and check out those. There's at least 2 skits that I'm aware of,
Hmm.
and I will link them because I thought they were great. In
Thanks
fact,
so
I'll
much.
probably have you may, if you're a listener, hopefully you've listened to part of that as an intro to this video. So a
There you
little
go.
editorial magic that I will sort of perform and fill out there.
Nice. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. I was laughing along as Kevin and I were watching it just now. So
Nice.
really well done. Really well done. Yeah.
Thank you. No, thank you very much. And I got to
No,
give him a lot of credit. He's very good at like putting it all together.
very Scorsese-esque, you know.
Thank you. That was a lot of the intent.
Very cool. So another thing that you mentioned here is that you do a lot of buying and customer advisement and education. Does that mean when someone comes into the store, you're there to help them pick something that they haven't had before, or how does that work?
Yeah. So with that, I guess it gets split up a little bit in that like I feel like depending on the store and depending on like the size of your staff and that kind of thing, you can have people who are like dedicated buyers where that's like it's almost like an office job for them and that's totally a valid direction to go depending on like the scope of your store. With us being as small in terms of staff as we are, then while I do fulfill like a lot of buying roles, particularly like in tandem with our general manager, a lot of what I end up doing is being out like on the sales floor, kind of hanging around the liquor aisle, and helping customers as they come in to kind of give them some direction if we have something like new and interesting, or if it's, a lot of instances of if like you've enjoyed this, why not try that, especially trying to steer people towards something other than like the big names, so try something more unique. So that's a lot of it. Yeah.
So it sounds like your role has a lot of research involved.
Yeah, which I definitely enjoy. That's I feel kind of lucky that I was able to find a role in this industry that does pull in a lot of that. I was a history major in college, so like I definitely enjoy getting into it like that. It's a lot of fun.
Very
So
cool.
in preparation for this interview, I
Mhm.
actually couldn't find, a ton of information on yourself, right?
Yeah, no
I was
fair.
Googling and I actually pulled up Gemini
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I
No, just want to give
asked
it a
it,
shot.
I said to
Hmm.
it, act as an interviewer. If you were an interviewer and you were gonna interview Lucas Smith from Baytowne Wine,
Oh,
what would
very
you
interested to
ask?
see. Yeah.
One of the questions was about how you went from history at college to becoming a spirit specialist, and I was
Wow.
definitely worried that that was an AI hallucination
No, that
and
was
that
it
you
was
had.
on. That's impressive. I'm trying to think of well, that was like a thoughtful way to apply some AI there, but I'm even trying to think of where it pulled that from. Maybe that other podcast with Chris. I don't even remember when I said that though, honestly. So man, that's a heck of a pull. That's good.
Well, so why don't you tell us how you went
Sure.
from history to spirit specialist?
Totally, yeah. So a big part of it was that I was effectively like I started in the industry on a very just like no big deal kind of side of things where I was working the floor and the register at a large liquor store here in like the Rochester area while I was still going to school. And so in the course of that, then I would, kind of be exposed to a lot of that during college. And then once I was like wrapping up college and looking at other options, then I was still working in the business in the industry. And by that point, I was kind of shifting more into the role of like, okay, you don't just work on the floor, you work in the spirits section because I'd researched a lot and I actually wrote a paper for one of my higher level history classes about like the transition in American drinking habits centered around like the revolution from like colonial consumption of rum towards like early republic consumption of whiskey, which was that doing the research for that was really fun. Um, but so that was kind
That's
of where I
cool.
was coming from. Yeah, it was a neat direction to go. And then yeah, I guess just kind of organically from there, then I was like, I kind of shifted up into the like liquor manager, spirits director role at that store that I had started at. And then I had a connection to the general manager at Baytown, and then when he was leaving, he reached out to me to like kind of have somebody step into the spirits role that he had been kind of inhabiting before. So that was kind of how it like progressed like that. But yeah,
Very cool.
thanks.
You have a follow-up, Kevin? Or
You don't just deal with spirits though, right?
Yeah, yep.
And some of the things that I've found are
hmm
you also created some of your own cocktails.
Yeah, that's true actually, which is kind of funny because I'll admit I definitely get a little bit of the imposter syndrome on that, Kevin, because I am not a professional bartender. I just read a lot of books pretty much. Um, so I conceptualize drinks and stuff and I will like I'll mix them and I'll like get in the like cocktail lab or whatever and work it out. But I definitely go into it with like the cognizance and humility of the fact that I'm like there's people who are like, they're behind the stick like and it's their job to come up with drinks. I'm just like having a good time. But I do think that that's one of the cool things about spirits is it allows you to like really think about how flavors would play together and like for all the like a lot of it for what I'll try to do is because I do try to focus on like pulling notes out of a spirit as any buyer does. Then I will try to be like, oh, okay, if this, let's say this rum has a really pronounced like blackberry note, then maybe if I could find an Amaro that has like a comparable blackberry note, then I could get those to play together and stuff like that. So I have a lot of fun with that.
Mm. And
sound like a mad scientist.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit, I'll admit.
do you think your time as a younger gentleman coming up to
hmm
Canada to find reference points for spirits perhaps helped you with that?
You came prepared. You absolutely came prepared. I think it did. I think it did significantly, and that kind of to the point of what I was saying about the connection of Baytown with the Canadian market also like ties into a personal connection of like, yeah, I was going to Toronto or even like some of those closer, smaller spots earlier on because of course with our drinking age the way it is, then I had to figure things out. But it's funny because I would rope my friends into it. I'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and like like party kind of, but then I would just be ordering like a bunch of very specific whiskeys and like trying to get notes on them. Um, and we still had a good time, but that was a lot of what I was like working on.
That kind of lends into what I was going to ask you next is,
Yeah,
at what point in time did that switch flip from, hey, alcohol is there to help me party
yeah,
to, you know what? There's something behind this particular spirit that I really want to enjoy and invest time into.
yeah. That's a great question, I'd say, Joel. I think that honestly, a big part of it was like there was a simultaneity of it for a while because like what I was saying of like going up to Canada and that kind of thing, I would think of it in terms of like, well, I am gonna get into the notes of this, but like I'm also like trying to party, so I'll, taste a bunch of different things and that kind of thing. And I feel like in a way, like I was down to appreciate the nuances even while I was still, looking to party and that kind of thing. But then what shifted a lot for me was like just getting where I'm like, hey, I don't even really want to like drink all that much. I kind of just want to focus just on those tasting things and like, I'm gonna like spit more. I'm gonna I don't have to finish a drink if I make it as an experiment, stuff like that. I think I just got more used to like hey, like focus on the tasting and like, the other stuff can be secondary. And I don't know exactly like I guess that was partly just like, partly like a health and like wellness choice kind of thing. And then also just like also just I got more comfortable with like wasting stuff, I'll admit. You know. I think that's part of it too.
Understood, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing Bobby was going to mention now for our viewers and listeners, You may have noticed that Bobby is not here tonight. My understanding is that you yourself, you're a Buffalo Bills fan, and
Right.
Bobby's a Ravens fan, and he just couldn't take the heartbreak of the loss last night. That
Understandable.
that 1 point loss, so he's crying in his pillow right now. So
Can't blame him. Cannot blame him.
no, but he
Oh.
really did have a few questions about the symbiotic relationship that the Canadian buyers and your store have.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I'd be glad to get into that.
So how did it come about that let me think of how to phrase this.
Sure, yeah.
Kevin, we're gonna edit some of this stuff here, okay? Um, we know that you can't ship to Canada,
Right,
correct?
yeah.
So how do we focus on your store as a store that supplies to Canada or to Canadians in particular?
Yeah. Well, that's a very valid point. And what's funny in terms of that is that I do have to give credit to the previous GM who I mentioned, James. He definitely played a significant role in like building up relationships with like a lot of specific Canadian like customers and friends. And I think ultimately, while a couple of those folks will be buying like some, limited whiskey and stuff like that, I think a big part of it is that like again to look at like the rum community, like I think you guys know firsthand, and the whiskey community to some extent too, but especially the rum community, I feel like is known for like how global it is and like how like tight knit it is for being like as global as it is. Um, and so we are lucky to in Rochester have like a very strong and well-founded rum community, and I think that the connections to folks in Toronto and in Ontario are really strong because of that, largely. So I think that's where, like, for the things I inherited, like, just a logistic point of reference, like, there's one or two guys where, like, I got there, and like right after I was hired, I was like looking in the back, and I was like, what are these like piles of boxes with this like name over the top of it? And our shipping guy was like, oh yeah, that's for like this guy, and they only like come here every like 6 months or something because they live in Canada, but we like stockpile this stuff for them. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. So it was something that I kind of stepped into, and then was able to like work with and expand more, largely because it's just such a great community and such a great community of folks, in Canada, in on that side of things, that like to just to shout out someone specific, like I think of Robin at Little Sister, and like just his hospitality. Like I literally met him once when I was just like thinking about spots to check out in Toronto, and Meredith, who you guys probably know, but she was like, "Oh, make sure you get to Little Sister and talk to Robin." And I did, and then it was like one of those things where he's like, "Oh, you got to come up to the upstairs bar. You got to try all these different like St. Lucians and like different single still DDLs and all kinds of like wild rums that he was just like, oh, you gotta try this, you gotta try this, and incredible
Sounds
hospitality.
like I need to meet Meredith and Robin.
I think you do. I definitely would recommend it. They're some of the best.
Meredith
And
and Robin, if you're listening, reach out.
yeah, yeah,
I
definitely.
want to meet you.
You would not be at a loss to meet up with them because they're two fantastic people, both really really genuinely kind people, and also just like such great assets within the rum community and the broader spirits community at large.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've
That's
only
great.
met
Definitely.
Robin one time. We did a tasting at My Pie Tiki Bar in Hamilton.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
if you're ever over on this side, we'll go to My Pie,
I'd like
Lucas.
that.
It's a world-class Detroit style pizza
Oh, nice. Cool, cool, cool. Very good.
and a tiki bar. So
That's great.
it's
Nice.
amazing. Yeah.
That
And
sounds fantastic.
they did a Worthy Park tasting event there.
Oh, cool. Very
So
cool.
yeah, it was really nice evening. So
That
yeah,
sounds it.
shout
Yeah.
out to Robin. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
big time. That's great. Yeah,
Cool.
we love Worthy Park. We were just doing we actually just did a seminar that I ran at the tiki bar that just opened up here in Rochester, and it was mostly Worthy Park focused. So right there with you.
Very
Okay,
cool.
so this I do have a question about.
Yeah.
Right? Like I understand tastings,
Right.
and on your Instagram page, I was like a Tom Collins seminar.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
a
Good
like?
question.
How do what kind like what are you doing? Is like why do you call it as what's a seminar
What's a
in
seminar
relation
when
to the
it's like
whiskey
a
world
Tom
or
Collins?
spirits world? Yeah,
No, that's I gotta be honest with you. That's a completely like such a good way to like inquire as to that because it's just I it's funny because I remember when I like was like I'm gonna do a Tom Collins seminar. I remember Drew, our wine director, being like, "What? You're like you're doing a seminar on a Tom Collins?" I was like, "No, no, there's a lot of history. Trust me." So honestly,
it sounds like where people come and
uh-huh.
drink Tom Collins, but you
Yep.
talk about like vacation timeshare.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does sound like that. Like I'm like, oh yeah, and by the end of it, you too are gonna want to have a place in Florida. I know. That's very much what it comes across as, and I try with those kind of things to keep a balance of the fact that like as I've been on the other side of that plenty of times myself, and when I am, I'm like, obviously I'm there to hear what people have to say and to learn, but also like, you want to taste things, you want to like have a drink and stuff. So I try to get a good balance of like, yeah, you're gonna be able to like actually enjoy this and like not just like sit in like a lecture hall or something and be told about like, the like Gin Act of 1737 or something like that. Like, you want to actually like have some fun too. But I'm partly on that like history basis a lot of the time with stuff like that. Like with that seminar or like that one that I did a couple weeks ago at the Tiki Bar at Easy Sailor here. I'll focus on like a lot of history and a lot of like precedent as to like, because that one I was like tying it into like what the difference between sugarcane rum and molasses rum was.
Hmm.
And so they were doing like a side by side tasting. And then I was talking about like, why they started making rum out of fresh cane juice versus molasses and like what the historical context of that was and stuff. So most of the time it's kind of one of those where it's like you could almost say more of like a guided tasting, I guess. But like yeah, it's definitely the Tom Collins in particular felt like very silly because it's like this is literally like a sparkling gin lemonade. How are you like teaching a class about it? But we got into it.
It actually sounds really cool.
Nice.
I will admit to being a little bit of a geek, and I
Yeah,
don't do enough work um, because I'm too busy. But I don't do enough work as far as like reading up on all that history, and I really should.
well,
So
that's fair. I
maybe your
mean, you're
next
doing good work.
seminar I'll drive down to.
That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. It'd be great to have you.
Yeah, we love the history. Bobby and I, we run a spirits tasting group called Southern Ontario Sippers,
Yeah,
and we often have one of the head distillers or one of the representatives of a certain brand come on. And some of the most successful tasting events that we've had, um, those individuals will go into their history and not just sort of spout sort of the written down history, but
yeah,
the anecdotal and sort of the application of it, how we got to something that we have today. So,
that's
um,
cool.
yeah, so this sounds right up our alley. Like, I think we should chat about maybe doing a virtual event of some sort at some point.
I'd be down. That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be very
Seriously.
cool.
No.
One of the things you're mentioning with the cocktails, it just popped back into my mind when I was
Yeah.
in Baytown. It's got to be about a year ago now.
Uh-huh.
That was the first time I got to meet you, and
Yeah.
you pointed me in the direction of a privateer white rum
Oh yeah, yeah.
with the green label. It's a Velier, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember the one you were thinking of. Yeah,
So I enjoyed it, and
nice.
one day, my wife and I, we went to a Thai restaurant
Oh yeah.
and they had something they called a tea-na-colada.
Ooh.
So what they did was they fat washed the white rum
Uh-huh.
in coconut oil.
Oh, cool.
And then included in their pina colada, they actually used a Thai masala kind of tea. So it's
Oh yeah, yeah.
a little spicy.
Yeah.
I've tried to replicate it about a dozen times now, and I think I finally got it down pat. But
Nice.
that that fat washed privateer rum was
Uh-huh.
unbelievable. It was so
Oh,
good.
cool.
It was
Very
so
cool.
good. Yeah, one of my
That makes
favorite things.
sense. No, that's a really cool application for that because I feel like I don't know, just knowing like what that distillate is like, it seems like it would lend itself really well to that. And so that's cool that you used it in that capacity because that's I love stuff like that where you try to apply some of those like culinary techniques and that sort of thing to get that kind of balance of flavors. That's really neat.
Yeah. So by all means, use the recipe, use the idea if you want. So
Yeah, I might have to honestly because I also not that I mean to steal it from you by any means, Joel, but I love Thai food and like those kind of flavors and like especially stuff where people are doing cocktails based on like those kind of flavors because I in fact there's just because it made me think of it there's a couple people who are actually professionals versus like myself like I said in the cocktail space here in Rochester who have done stuff like that. Because I remember there's a woman named Megan who did one that was based on it was genuinely like a tom yum soup
oh wow.
inspired drink, which was pretty cool. Um, and then I'm trying to think of what else. There's another gentleman named Joe who did this was less Thai influenced and more Korean influenced, I guess, but it was like he did a kimchi tincture, I think.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. So I love stuff like that. It's
That
so
sounds
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
definitely
amazing.
big time.
I some of our previous stuff, if I may change the direction ever so
Sure.
slightly. Some of our previous podcasts have talked a little bit about the way that things work in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Spirits between the different provinces. Being a spirit specialist and involved in, sort of the buying and sort of getting of these spirits into the store.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I'm aware that the American market is structured very differently. If you could, maybe you could give
Yeah.
us a little bit about maybe the structure, or if not the structure of the whole of the American of all of the American market, maybe just of it in New York, and maybe we can just talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, gladly. Um, I think the main thing for us is that like Prohibition really made for an interesting time in that afterwards it was one of those things that largely got left up to the states. Um, but so you'll see a lot of discrepancies in alcohol laws like from state to state. And so it does have some parallel to like the province differences in Canada in that way. But with that, like one of the through lines that's quite consistent is I should know, I'm actually not 100% sure, but this might be on the federal level. But I know for New York for sure is there's the three-tier system, which I'm sure you guys are already familiar with, but like where we legally cannot sell to like another store or to a bar or a restaurant. They had to buy from a wholesaler. We had to buy from a wholesaler, and we also technically can't buy directly from a producer unless they have a separate they have to sell to us through a wholesaler effectively. So that tiered system is very consistent. And what I think you see differences in more is oh yeah, from state to state, one of the main things, especially as a consumer, that you'll see is like we can't carry beer in liquor stores in New York. So it's kind of strange, but we can only have wine and spirits. Grocery stores and gas stations can carry beer, and then like they cannot carry any wine or spirits. So people from other states will often be like, "Oh, why can't I get beer here?" Or, "Oh, normally I can just go to the grocery store to get my wine," and stuff like that. So, New
That
York
is really
definitely is
strange.
distinct. Yeah. And I know Ontario, the beer is in LCBOs too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
But now it's also in grocery stores and
Oh.
like corner stations. So you can buy wine and beer at grocery stores and corner stations now.
Uh-huh.
But you can't buy spirits at anywhere else besides the LCBO.
Okay.
The LCBO will sell it all.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Or at
Plus,
least
we also
I
have
follow
beer
it.
stores
Yeah.
that
Oh,
just have beer,
Yeah.
interesting. I
but
feel like I
those
drove
are,
past one of those and I was perplexed.
yeah, it's just beer, 100%. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess on some level that's probably good though, because like I know this kind of impacts more like our wine director side of things than my own, but like there's a lot of controversy and a lot of push within New York to keep wine out of grocery stores because there's a lot of concern that it'll like cause a lack of individuality, that you'll just get a lot of like big name brands that can like turn a profit, and like they're not going to pick up like small family owned wineries in the Finger Lakes and that kind of thing. um, and so I guess I would just wonder is like when things started being like when the designation of beer changed in Ontario, do you feel like did that cause any of that, or did the beer stores kind of help to avoid that, like where you lost some selection?
It's a really good
Um,
question.
I just
I
thought of that.
I honestly never really felt that the beer store had
Yeah.
the kind of selection I wanted. You know,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
the beer store is sort of like mostly owned by like the big conglomerates.
Oh, gotcha.
And I think legislatively they were forced to let some of the little guys in.
Okay.
Um, so for me, the beer that I wanted was always available at the LCBO.
Gotcha.
I think that like if I go to like the superstore, like our grocery store, uh,
Yeah.
I think I do. There is a decent selection of beers, maybe sort of like middle to large places,
Mm-hmm.
middle to large breweries.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot of like the really small guys, but I think that they do an okay job. I'm not a
Yeah.
beer
Still
guy,
pretty.
so
I get you.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely walk past like maybe six fridge spaces
Hmm.
of beer, and there's maybe 40 different kinds of beer, which
Yeah.
I think that's good for most people.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so. I mean, that certainly still seems like a pretty big selection.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
But
Well, that makes sense.
it's just an estimate, so I could be way off.
Oh, no, no, no. I get you. Yeah. And I totally feel you too. Cause like, I don't even feel particularly qualified to talk about it. Cause like most of what I know beer and wine wise is just from people who are more experienced and like invested in that side of things. Cause I get so honed in on spirits that I often have kind of blinders with it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Recently, I guess recently in New York, I actually thought, and I could be way off or wrong.
No worries.
I listened to a bunch of different podcasts, but I thought that in New York recently there was a push to allow producers to sell directly to consumers.
Yeah, no, no, you are not off at all. That is correct. And yeah, I had to look again at the stipulations around that, but that is true, and that has shifted things some. And that also kind of plays into the side of it where like there's like that farm licensing kind of thing, and that is adds this certain element of like it's unique in that like places that produce have to carry New York State spirits and New York State products if they have like a bar on premises, um, which is an interesting stipulation. But yeah, that is true, and um, I think if I'm not off base myself, part of the impetus for the like direct consumer thing was that like It's a really big point of importance for like a lot of like California wineries. And so I think that they didn't want New York wineries to lack that ability. And we do actually have a lot of distilleries now at this point too.
Yeah.
So I think that that was like, you know, potentially a good opportunity for them because that's the other like challenge of the three-tier system is like obviously, in order to get in front of people and to get that level of exposure, a lot of these small brands have to work with really large, like national conglomerates that are huge distributors. And when they enter into their portfolio, they're very small potatoes in a sense, which not to say that they never get attention, but it's kind of an uphill battle for them with some of those things. So I think that having a separate avenue where they're not necessarily beholden to um, potentially distracted or otherwise prioritizing distributors that they have kind of some more outlets for exposure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, super cool.
Yeah,
That's I mean that's kind of where my head is at. I kind of really like the geeky industry, sort of like what's happening, how are things
yeah.
changing, understanding. So thank you for that.
Of course, yeah, and it's one of those things that I had to keep an eye on too because I actually I did spend a period of time working for a local producer in kind of like a brand ambassador role, and I feel like I had a little bit more of a finger on the pulse of it at the time because it was like people were talking about like, oh yeah, direct to consumer is going to be a thing, and then like it was after I had stopped working in that capacity that it did actually pass. So I'm not positive how much it actually has like increased their total sales, but I do think that it's still valuable and that it like does give them this outlet that they didn't have otherwise, and it doesn't force them to. And I'm not even trying to hate on the distributors because obviously, I mean, it's not that they're like bad necessarily or not trying. It's just that it's a lot of hoops to jump through to get enough focus on this tiny little distillery out of New York
Yeah.
versus Tito's, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a spirits business, right? Spirit
Yeah.
floats. And we've often thought, you know, do we even try and export to the States? Is it
Yeah.
even a possibility? And every time I
Mhm.
think of it, I have a friend, he would say, stop self-rejecting. But I find it very difficult to like even get my head in that space where I feel like they would be interested in us.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. And I mean like I don't by any means think that you should self-reject. I think that, you absolutely like I know that as an independent bottler you choose like liquid you feel really confident in and that you feel good about putting to market. So there's no reason why it shouldn't be able to be in the US market too. I fully support that. Though I do also understand that like just because I've seen that from like talking with other producers too that it can be so tough to like get things worked out with distributors. And like just because that distribution that the three tiers makes for such a extra extra hassle. Like and like to think of that, I do you guys know John and Lori of Raising Glasses by chance? Independent bottlers out of Boston, and they have their own independent bottling company, but they also do a lot of like importation of things that aren't even like theirs. They just work as like the importer for. Like they do that with Renaissance. They recently started doing that with Bedford Park. Actually, that's their work for
Oh,
bringing that in.
that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, definitely. But accordingly, I just have heard firsthand from them how much of an undertaking that kind of thing can be. And it like, or even just like the like dumbest little like hang-ups like which mind you I'm not by any means trying to dissuade you. I think it'd still be great to like be able to get your product into like New York and other markets, but I just mean like I think of things that they've told me before of being like, well, we have to sell at least this much to be able to make it worth the like label fee for like the New York State Liquor
Oh,
Authority and stuff like it, just like dumb things like that. So
right,
there's all those little minutiaes.
right. No, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. No, I think, I fully respect when you're doing something like that, and I think getting it out in front of as many people as possible is ideal.
So you just mentioned Renaissance. That's a rum from Taiwan, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Have you tried it?
I have. I've been lucky too. I gotta give credit where it's due in that between some friends and John and Lori, I have been able to taste some, and it's cool. It's very different. Like some people have asked me what I would compare it to, and I it's tough to nail down. I think in my view, I get a lot of like from the two expressions that I have tried, more like mineral driven, kind of like almost like asphalt kind of notes. It's like very like heavy and dense.
Hmm,
And like almost a little industrial and earthy, but it's neat. At least from what I've tried. Have you had any of that, Joel? Or
I haven't. No, no.
it's cool. It's definitely, I think there's more coming because we had thus far through John and Lori only gotten like two expressions, one of which was cognac finished and the other was Bordeaux finished, I think. But yeah.
Interesting.
I just
Yeah.
looked up Renaissance Distillery, Renaissance Rum. Came
Yeah.
across an article from the Lone Caner. But the
Yeah.
bottle picture there, like, I don't know if all their bottles are the same, but there's like a full bookload of information on
Yes.
that.
I was gonna say that's probably what it, yeah, the like wall of text on the back label.
I mean, it's not even like a wall of text, it's just like a wall of information, right? It's like
Yes.
information, this, that, all little sections. And I just was like, I can't see it because it's small, but
Yeah.
I want to get the bottle in my hand just so I can see it.
No, it's cool, and you're right. That's a better way of putting it because it's not like it's a paragraph or something. It's like they have just like all those little boxes of like here's your fermentation time, here's your yeast strain, here's your like amount of maturation and like whether it was in this cask or like just about everything you could want to know. They do have on that back label, which is pretty cool.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, yeah, they're and to my knowledge, I think that they're the first Taiwanese rum being like commercially imported into the States, which is pretty exciting too. But yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. I got to get my hands on a bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
yeah,
you get one, Lucas, I'll figure out a way to get it back.
absolutely. Well, I mean, I think you've got some friends, so I with both of you guys, so I'm pretty sure that we could find a way to get it into your hands.
Sounds good.
Nice, nice.
Of course.
Now, that spirits market is changing and there's things emerging, coming out new. Is there anything that's really exciting to you?
Yeah. No, thank you for that. It's definitely I'd say there's a lot. One thing that was really exciting very recently, which again I do get kind of like hyper focused into the rum side of things, but there's been a lot coming out with Alambique Serrano, which is a rum out of Oaxaca and all fresh cane juice from this like very small family distillery in like the Cloud Forest region of Oaxaca. And we had like we did kind of a special project with them, which is part of what like felt so exciting about it because like they had done at this point it's Jason Cox's like he partnered with the family in terms of making it like a importation project because he is behind Cinco Sentidos, the mezcal brand. And so then this is like his rum project with this family, the Crassel family. And so we have done a lot with them recently in that like what we were focused on was they had previously done single casks and quite a number of them. And we at Baytown have done a bunch of like barrel picks and stuff. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we did something that was like kind of more in the vein of like one of our like mezcal batch picks, but for a rum where we're picking, an unaged spirit. And because we had been really blown away by their unaged expression, like namely the Cartier 30. And so then when we brought that up, what was neat was like the Jason and the Crassels were kind of already in that headspace. So they're like, yeah, totally. Here's a few things we've been working on. You can pick one of those and we'll do it as like a batch pick. And so we went that route, and we got the first unaged pot still distillate that they released as an exclusive pick, and it was really exciting because like I mean, you get kind of in your bubble with this sort of thing where you're like, oh yeah, this is really really cool, and of course it's obviously so cool, but then you're like, is everyone else gonna think this? But thankfully, the rum community was like really really into it, and we got like an initial half of the batch, to kind of test the waters, and it sold out very quickly. So then we got in the second batch, and it's been selling well. So it's excuse me, the second part of that batch. But yeah, that's a long answer to say Alambique Toronto has been a really big thing, in terms of like I think that people are becoming more open to new origins in rum, I think, and becoming more open to new flavor profiles and like more cane juice, which like obviously like Europe was already ahead of us to be down for cane juice rum, but I think the American palate, like there's at least among enthusiasts, more people are like willing to venture into that now, which is cool. But yeah,
Sounds
Starting
really interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
I know if Bobby was here, he would have something to say about cane juice spirits. He's not a big fan of, I guess, what would be classified as an agricole, right?
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
He's molasses guy.
And only
So
molasses, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, but in my, limited knowledge of it, I've
No, no.
enjoyed a lot of agricoles. So I'd be really
Yeah,
interested in trying that.
I think I was just educated because I mean I'm very new to rum,
yeah,
and I have often wondered what is the difference between rum agricole, RUM, RHUM. To me,
yeah.
it's all just rum.
No, I feel you. I totally feel you. And it's and I should say for the record too, I think you both are far more well versed in like Scotch than I am, so I by no means have an intent of being at all didactic. But on the rum side, I think it's neat because a lot of that, especially coming into like the like language differences and stuff, is that like it'll come down to like whether it's like from a region that was previously like Spanish held or French held or English held. And while a lot of those things end up being kind of like, they'll be thought of in a sort of reductive way where people steer clear of using the terminology like English style or Spanish style rum. Um, but what I think the through lines are is that like you'll see like, you know, the colonization of Jamaica was mostly undertaken by like planters from Barbados. And so because of that, the way that they were making rum kind of transferred over into the way that like Jamaica was making rum. So it makes sense that there's like that English heritage through line. But of course, Jamaican and Barbados rums are still quite different. And so it's interesting when you get into that just because again, as it is with Scotch, as it is with whiskey or anything else, um, so much of it comes down to like precedent of like what people are doing regionally and culturally, but also then like what are they actually fermenting? How are they actually distilling it? What are they doing about maturation? I mean, that's always the same spirit to spirit for sure. So that's most of what it ends up boiling down to.
So this this next question, you might have already answered it,
No
um,
worries.
but I'll ask it anyways. So how do you balance as a buyer between what's popular and what's personally liked by you, or are they the same thing?
Well, it's great when they are. That's what I would say. Like, and that Alambique de Cobra was one of the situations where it was. But at the same time, I think that it is important to balance that. That's kind of like one of the most tricky tightropes that like someone in a buying role has to walk. And I mean, even yourself running like a club that will pick barrels and that sort of thing, the same thing firsthand. I mean, like it's so much of it like this might be perfect for your palate and you really love it and like you would be perfectly happy if you just had cases and cases and cases of this for yourself. But then you're like, well, I'm not getting cases and cases and cases of it for myself. I had to be able to sell it. So the saleability thing is definitely vital. And I think that's something that like having worked with some people where I was kind of like training them on some of that kind of thing of like, okay, what to look for when you're picking a barrel or choosing a product and that kind of thing. It's always like, make sure you think about what will please the most amount of people. And that doesn't mean that you never pick something for the like niche market by any means, but you also need to make sure that you're not going to get, because I mean, again, it's just a matter of numbers at that point. Because like, sure, maybe you'll have some people who want the like hyper specific, really, really weird, super strange, divisive, polarizing taste. But that might only be 10 people. So you don't want to have 60 bottles of it. Whereas like, alternatively, you have something else that far more people would want. You gotta go that route. So
So
that's
has that happened where you've brought something in and there's like this small niche of people who
yeah.
really like it and then the
Mhm.
rest just kind of sit on the shelf?
You know, to not like catastrophically, but definitely to some extent, I will claim that that's like something where there's been areas where like I would probably approach it differently if I were to do it now, kind of thing. I've been involved in one or two barrel picks where like I was like, I really liked it and I think it was a really cool product, but it wasn't lined up where it needed to be for people to jump on it and buy it out. Like, it wasn't either out there enough and like specifically appealing enough to get people on board or safe enough that it didn't matter kind of thing. It was like, a little bit off base, but not enough to be interesting enough, that kind of thing. So it's definitely one of those things where there's enough factors at play that like you really have to make sure that you don't overcommit on things. Um, and because that at the end of the day, obviously you want to forefront spirits that are really interesting and well made and might present something new and unique to more people, but also you need to be able to continue buying things, so you got to be able to sell it.
Hmm, cool.
Now, were you involved in the pick? It was a Hamilton bottling. It said it was a Baytown store pick. It was Guyanese rum, and it was bottled at 66.6%.
Yeah, funny thing on that one actually is that so that was like I believe those were picked at the same time, but there was that one which is from the it's weird saying it because it sounds like you should say Versailles like French, but they I guess in Guyana say Versailles, so from the Versailles still. Um, that single still pick, single barrel pick, and then there is a Port Morant, which is the other heritage still there, single still, single barrel pick. And the Port Morant, which is the one at 60 ABV versus the 66, that is the one that like I heard about and like I went over to Baytown to like go and try it and buy it. When I was still working at that other liquor store. So that I kind of have a personal connection to those two barrels and that like I was
Lucas,
like,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to
no
pause
problem.
for 1 second just to have
Totally good.
everybody coming in. I'm gonna
Oh, that's
mute
fine.
my mic and you continue on.
Okay, no worries at all. Totally good. Um, no, it's just so that I definitely had an interest in that, and it brought me over accordingly. And I'm really glad it did because then it worked out very well. But yeah, it's those are some really neat barrels, and I got to give credit where it's due that that was mostly the work of James, the general manager before me, and like largely like the rum community around Rochester, like namely Meredith, for instance, who's not in the industry herself, but just really really skilled with rum and like one of the basically one of the like the most significant like rum collectors in the U.S. She's a friend to all. But yeah, those barrel picks were special to me, and that like and I think that's what's kind of cool about some of those products is like in so much that it brought me in where I eventually became like an employee and like the one like kind of curating the section, it also will bring people in who are just like they just want to buy it, and it will interest them in other things that you have too. So I think that's one area that is really important to me to maintain with Baytown in rum and in other spirits categories. Um, that you have stuff that will make people be like, "Huh, wait, what? They've got that? Like, what else do they have?" That's kind of a big part of the goal.
Yeah. So
I
I had seen that bottle and I said I wanted it, but the time I was there, I was only over for a day, so I didn't want to risk
Oh,
bringing a couple of bottles. Fortunately, my cousin, she grew up just outside of Rochester in Perry,
okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
so I got her to come by, and she ended up picking up that bottle for me, so I have it sitting in my cupboard now.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great, Joel. That's very good. I'm glad she got it.
yeah, yeah, it's excellent. I really enjoy it.
Right? It drinks really well for something both at that proof and it wears its like maturation nicely because I feel like it's still kind of like vibrant and fruity
Mhm.
without being like super heavily barrel influenced. So I agree. That's a really good one.
Kevin, you
I can definitely, maybe the word is commiserate, maybe not. I don't know.
That
Uh,
sounds like a good road for it.
empathize. Empathize is the word. I think.
Yeah.
Trying to choose, like, you get a sample from a distillery, or maybe even 4 or 5 samples,
Yeah.
and you're trying to decide, whether you should buy it,
Yeah.
and will other people like it the way you do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and whether the amount that you like it is enough. Like, I mean, I like it, and I really like it,
Right.
but does it meet the level where it's like, I'm gonna spend like all of that money on it, or risk that money on it, even if
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
other people will. It's a thing where, like, you can get like right down in here like some really big butterflies,
Definitely.
about, whether you should be moving forward or not. And at the end of the line, I like to go with, what's it, no risk, no reward, no pain, no gain.
Yeah. Yeah. Often you
um,
have to, because otherwise you just get stuck in that like analysis paralysis and like you kind of had to take the plunge. So I completely understand.
yeah. I
so
often get stuck in analysis paralysis.
Oh yeah, no, me too, me too. Even over small buys, so I can understand.
we're hitting about an hour here.
Hmm.
So I believe Kevin, you had some special little game you wanted to do there. Want
I
to do that for a
was I
couple
was
minutes?
just getting it ready, actually.
Hmm. Okay.
And so I've seen this on Instagram. A few
Yeah.
different accounts do this. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys an image. I will try and get you guys to guess what bottle it's from.
Ooh, okay. Very
So
good.
it's like a cropped image. I'm only going to show you part of the bottle, and you guys have to guess, which one it is. Not like exactly like which batch or which ABV, or,
Uh-huh.
just the brand.
Are we just shouting
Okay.
it out, or are we doing like write it down and see who gets it or
I
something?
think we'll, each of you decide and say when you're ready, and then we'll have, one of you go and then the other person go,
I'm gonna be
and
terrible at
say whether
this.
you got it, and we can play like, we can see your scores, one versus the
Nice.
other. Um,
Sorry to our listening audience. Just this
Good
is only
point.
for the viewers.
That's all right.
maybe we'll, exclude this part from the audio.
Okay.
Maybe
Regardless,
they'll just guess. They'll
yeah. So some will be easier than others.
Gotcha.
This is number one.
Oh, yep. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Joel, you ready as well?
Yep.
Okay, so what are your guesses?
Do
Go ahead,
we say
Lucas.
them at the same time?
Sure. Lucas, you go first.
Okay. I'm sure that Joel will have it too, but Jim Beam.
Yeah, I concur. Jim Beam.
Very
Okay,
good.
1-1. So now we're gonna close that one and gonna bring in number two.
Ready.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay.
Nice.
Joel, we'll get you to go first this time.
I said, will it?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? It looks really similar, but I think that's Jameson.
Jameson it is.
Ah, there we go.
But I've just been looking at Willet bottles myself, and I could see it. I could totally see it. Well, it's similar.
All right. Number 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me see
Okay,
if
I
I
think I.
can.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Lucas, you're first this time.
Now, see, I think this is where you guys are gonna definitely have much better Scotch knowledge than I. But it's Craig Moore.
Okay.
I put down SMWS.
Joel, you're all correct. It is an
Nice,
SMWS bottling.
very nice.
Yeah, and so Lucas, I do kind of have to apologize. I didn't realize where exactly you're like how far you leaned rum
Oh no, you're
before this,
fine. You were totally
but
fine.
I couldn't come up with I couldn't find much rum bottles. So
Also, don't worry because I definitely did start
oh no.
mostly whiskey focused, so you're all good.
This one actually says the name on the bottle, so.
Oh no. Oh.
I was trying to do this like in the hour before the podcast. I was trying to
You're
do this. And
fine.
this one I chose somewhere up above, but then I thought
Uh,
it would be too easy. So then I moved it down quickly and I didn't read the backwards upside down writing.
Yeah.
oh yeah, oh, true, true. You know, one thing on that though, it didn't used to say aged 9 years. They only added that within like the past few years. So that's one thing.
Okay, so each of you get a bonus point.
Yeah.
Nice.
Knob Creek. Knob Creek.
That yep, here it is.
Okay, so this one,
Ooh, that's tiny.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a little blurry, but I'll just describe the image in case we can't see it. It's two crocodiles, and the text says aged 8 years.
Are you sure they're not alligators?
I am not. They could be alligators.
But of that sort, I'm ready.
Okay, Joel,
I don't know.
so make a guess.
It's gonna be a bourbon of some sort.
Okay, and Lucas.
I gotta say, this is one of my favorites. This is Hampton Estate.
Yep.
Is it? Oh
Yeah.
It
man.
is. That's okay. No, no, that's fine. Again, I mean, I better get it if I like rum.
This was what I thought. I'll throw it just in case.
I appreciate it.
Oh man, I didn't check to see how small these were.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, okay. Think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, who's up first this time?
Um,
I think it's
it's-
Lucas.
okay. I'm thinking Hibiki.
Okay, and Joel.
Yeah, I said Hibiki too.
Okay. So, that was Hibiki.
Nice.
So what was the score tied?
I think we
No,
might
I
have
think
been actually.
I think Lucas got me with the
Oh, the
Hampton.
Hampton.
Yeah.
Oh, but I didn't get the SGWS, I think.
Oh, true.
So
I
we
guess
might
we're
be tied.
No, but Joel didn't get Jameson though.
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's
forgot
true.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I I remember their thing is they have in the bottom of the crust it says Sine Metsu, which is without fear. I don't know
Yes.
why I remember that, but that's a good one.
Funny
So,
story. A few years ago, my wife bought me a bottle of Octomore,
Oh, yeah.
and she thought it was going to be a funny thing to just take a tiny, tiny picture of something on it,
Yeah.
send it to me, and be like, "Oh, surprise! I got you something, but you don't know what
Yeah.
it is." She took a picture of the part that says "super heavily peated."
Oh no,
And that's like the only bottle that would have that, right?
that would
So
say that.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh, you got me
exactly.
Octomore."
Like immediately gives it away.
Yeah.
That's
like
so
when the
funny.
text is backwards upside down, the thing that's in the bottle.
It's just that one part that you can.
I
All
was
right.
I was busy editing it, and I'm just seeing like backwards, upside down text. Okay, it doesn't matter. On to the
Yeah,
next one. Just trying to make
I
sure.
wouldn't even have.
Actually, during the podcast, right, I was preparing to be
Yeah.
like, make sure this is, sort of like ready.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize that the names of the images still said the thing that they were. And so in the
Oh,
window, like up at the top in the title bar, it said the
yeah.
name of the thing.
Oh no. Oh
It said the
no.
name of the bottle. So I had to go and like change them all to like one, two, three, four, five.
That's funny.
Well, I gotta say, I gotta give credit where it's due on that because I mean, like the fact that you caught that and took care of it, like I'm over here like making sure that I can sign into Zoom, so don't feel bad.
All right, time's ticking away on us. So
Yep.
just maybe one last thing, Lucas. There's something I was thinking about instituting on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm stealing it from another podcast, but if there's one question that you would like to leave for the next guest, do you
Ooh,
have a
okay.
question that you'd like to leave for them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I do. And I'll admit I'll have to be kind of like general because who knows what their exact role might be, but
For sure.
I think what I'll throw out there is if you were going to pour, I'll focus on spirits, but if you're going to pour a glass of some kind of spirit for someone, what would you choose to pour if you if you wanted to have something that you felt would like completely change the way they perceived spirits, I guess. I think that's like something I like would send them on a whole new path, I guess I would say, in terms of tasting things and drinking things.
So, like,
Um,
given the average consumer,
yeah,
what thing would you choose that would take the average consumer down a
completely new.
completely? Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's a
Nice.
Thank you.
great question.
And because
Luke,
I feel like it would be one where you'd have to really give it some thought because I feel like you could do something that would just blow them out of the water and then it'd be like, well, yeah, they'd definitely change it for them. But I kind of I'd hope that they would choose something that like could be like the start of like, whoa, okay, what is this? Like, what do I, what can I get into with this sort of thing?
yeah, I love that. That's a great one.
Thank you.
Can't wait to ask that to our next guest.
Well, I can't wait to listen. That'll be fun.
Lucas, this has been awesome having you on.
Thanks
Where
so
can
much for
people
having me
find
on.
you?
Um, I would say definitely keep an eye on the Baytown website. Any like events that we're doing that I would be involved in will be posted on there. And then my like Instagram handle for all things of the tasting sort is at LS Tasting, like letter L, letter S. And then I guess that would be most of the spots where they'd find me. If I have any other outlets come up, I'll keep people posted.
Maybe in some skit on at
Mhm.
Baytown Wine on
Yes,
Instagram.
yeah, very good point, Kevin. There's more to come, so it's I would definitely appreciate people keeping an eye out because we have a good time with those.
For me
Awesome.
tonight, one of the most interesting aspects of our conversation is to see not just Lucas the buyer, the spirits drinker, but Lucas the historian,
Thank you.
somebody who really appreciates history, and that was a really cool part for this podcast for me.
Well, thank you, Joel, and thank you guys for bringing that out because that's it means a lot to still be able to like focus on that because that's I've been into that a lot longer than I was ever into spirit. So the fact that I can kind of marry a couple loves like that's perfect.
It was very interesting talking to you tonight. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Of course, and thank you guys so much for having me. It really means a lot.
All right, guys, until next time, this is Joel and Kevin and Lucas signing off for Unpoured Perspectives.
So we've just listened to the podcast from with Lucas Smith at Baytown Wine. Um, you'll notice that Bobby is now subbing in for Joel. The reason is that we're recording this on separate days. we're all very busy and still trying to get in a Canada corner for you guys. Bobby, why don't you introduce the bottle?
So this was one of the first people I reached out to that responded back to us. They were super nice enough to send us a bottle. They sent us, I think there was a couple of the gin drinks in a can. They sent us some glasses. They sent us a little kit of a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to be doing center here. So Broken Paddle. So this is a from Ontario, and it's in Cobden. In this particular bottle, it's 100% Canadian single malt, rye, and corn, aged in ex-bourbon barrels, and it is 40%. And I was very hesitant at the beginning because it's 40%. But when I was doing this, we tried this when I was pouring you guys the samples. My brother-in-law was over, and we were both like, "Oh, this is pretty good."
So you said ex-bourbon barrels,
Yes.
single malt at 40%.
No, single malt, rye, and corn.
Oh, single malt, rye, and corn. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a blend of 100% single malt, rye, and then corn.
Okay.
So those curated and aged blends results in, well, we'll see how your notes are, and then I'll tell you what the bottle.
And out of curiosity, what sort of price are we looking at here?
I think this was 32 or 35. Hang on, I should have looked that up first.
No, no, no. That's all good. I mean, I'm just curious, right? When we start with 40%, I think initially, there's some hesitancy, if you're paying $100. But if you're paying, 30 to 40 to $50, I think 40% is, you know, it's wonderful.
Broken Paddle whiskey.
I'm also using a new glass for the first time.
Are you using the aged in ore glass?
The Denver and Liley.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Denver and Liley. Okay, so this bottle is it's 39.78.
Yeah, so comparable to our previous Canada Corners.
Yeah, it's in that like $30 to $40 range. Doesn't say anything about how old it is on here. 40% made in Canada. All the goods. So on the nose, I probably guess it'd be a little higher than 40% because there's a little bit of ethanol, but I mean it could just be the youth too.
So I'm a little bit stuffed up tonight. Seasonal allergies and the whatnot. So my nose isn't great, but initially I do get some green apples, maybe a little bit of red apples, a little bit of honey.
It's got like a nice legs in the glass. I don't know if you get that in yours too or not, but I mean there might be some decently aged stuff in here. It is pretty oily.
Yeah, I mean you can really see that on the camera there.
It smells inviting, like a warm apple pie, like you said, fruits.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely like a little bit of cinnamon and baking spices in there.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know see if we have to see if we can reach out to them, see if they'll let you know percentage of whatever blend they did. So what got me on this was the mouthfeel. Like it's creamy, it's oily.
It's very creamy.
Yeah, and I love a creamy like that mouthfeel. It coats your mouth. You get like that nice rush of spice. Not hot, like there's no ethanol, there's nothing. It's just like creamy, super creamy, a little bit oily. You can feel it on the roof of your mouth.
Yeah, but it's not just creamy in mouthfeel. It's I mean the flavors are also very I mean
So I get
don't
you get the
wanna
sweetness from the corn. You definitely get like the single malt, and then I guess like that nice finish is like the rye kick potentially. I thought this one surprised me a lot. This was the first bottle we opened, so I had the entire lineup in that video I did of all the bottles that were sent. This was the first one that we opened, and I was thoroughly surprised. Like I didn't know too much about them, and you're always a little hesitant going into, an unknown, not a place I'd really heard much about, and then it's only 40%. But this was for me. I would buy a bottle of this.
100%. after my first taste, it is I got a lot more on the nose. It was more pastry, brown sugar.
Yeah, so that more of that apple, that more of that pie is turning into like more maybe like a crumble
Yeah.
sugar. So I added a few drops of water, which I know it's 40%, but I'm just curious to see if it brings. It actually gets quite more fragrant on the nose and not hot, just smells like a lot more flavor coming out of the glass.
I added 4 drops.
Mm. It's like a super. Oh yeah, actually, it's good both ways. Actually, it gets maybe a touch more foamy, a little bit more thin, but on just the initial when you take the sip with a little bit of water, but the flavor definitely is impacted a little bit more. You get a little bit more spice. There's almost trying to think what it is. Maybe a touch of banana.
Oh yeah, I could see
Like
that.
you know those like yellow gummy or those yellow like marshmallowy kind of banana thing. It kind of has
Yeah,
like an interesting.
yeah. I found that the water softened it a bit, um, which I don't like.
Yeah.
I like it to have a little bit of bite in the end there.
I find it loses that little bit of that oiliness too.
Yes, yeah. I also found that the nose was a little bit more on the like initially I found the green apples, and then after that I found the brown sugar and like apple pie notes. To me, the apple pie notes started to move into the background, and the green apples were a little bit more forward, the more orchard fruits,
Yeah.
after adding a few drops of water.
I do like though that you don't get any like there's no dill, there's no pine needle, no like there's none of those what you would expect. I shouldn't say expect. What you would think might be in a that price
It's
range.
not herbaceous.
Yeah, which is and I love that. So
Yeah,
like
and
I'd be curious to find out like what kind of rye this is. If it's like all their own stuff or if they're actually sourcing. Like I other than just reaching out and actually just telling them what we were gonna do, they're super nice about it. So I mean it talks about climate neutral certified, 1% for the planet. Um,
climate neutral. I see. So they're just like offsetting carbon emissions and things, or
I don't know, just what it says on the bottle. No idea, man.
I have to check out their website and
But this would it says it would be so their notes are caramel, vanilla, warm spice, and rye, making excellent neat or mixed in your favorite cocktail, which this would make a pretty good cocktail. Um,
I definitely do get the vanilla. Um, I don't know. I don't. For me, I mean, the caramel. I think you would definitely see caramel, but it doesn't.
I think
Caramel's
now,
not one of the notes that I picked out.
no, but like as we're talking now, and when you let this, you haven't had anything for a while, I can see maybe like a Werther's kind of finish. So maybe a little bit more butterscotchy than Well, I don't know what's Werther's. Isn't butterscotch?
You know what?
Caramel?
Not butterscotch actually. Right as you said butterscotch, for me it was butter tart
No.
or
Yeah.
custard
Okay.
tart.
Yeah. But I think the nose in the empty glass is great. I love like if you could get every whiskey in Canada to smell like this, whatever blend they did together, good job.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's not offensive. It's easy to drink.
Yeah, it's
You could just crack a bottle open and drink half
very
a bottle. I
beautiful.
think. Yeah. So thank you for the guys at Broken or at White Water.
While we continue to drink here, um, the we're a couple of big milestones, I think, both for the Southern Ontario Sippers this week and for Spirit for Us. You guys sold out of the amber whiskey,
Did
your barrel pick, which was, a stellar whiskey and one of the fastest selling whiskeys ever at Last Stroll. So that was super cool. And Spirit for Us, we've launched one new whiskey and two new independently bottled agave products, distilled by Tim Wilson over at Andrew Peller. Um, and we managed to acquire that product and get it bottled and sold, and it's sold very successfully in the few days that it's been out. Um, that's right. That's right. Don't forget to pick up your sticker if you go by the distillery.
I gotta put mine on the bottle. So no, it's good. Well, I was there. I got try. I bought our bottles in a couple cases for local people, and then there was actually four bottles on the shelf of the amber. And then Jason in BC's like, I want a bottle. So I'm like, I got him a bottle. And then there was three left. And then when I left, a guy messaged me. He's like, I want a bottle. And then I'm like, I messaged Don. I'm like, can you save me? And he's like, no. Like literally after I left, someone walked in and bought all the rest.
Oh
And
wow.
that was it. I'm like, okay, so there's none left. So he thinks he might have a bottle sitting in the back, maybe. So, my friend maybe will get the
I think
last bottle, but
I mean, I don't know if that's
officially.
still a thing. When I was there after you, I think he told me that he was completely out and he didn't even have that bottle.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't know then until the next time. Maybe
You'll
maybe
find
they're
out
just gonna
later.
go and like he's just gonna pour like all the bottles that were a couple of bottles that were open in the showroom. He's gonna get a mismatch of opened and not open bottles.
Yeah.
Uh, no, and then potentially while I was there, we potentially picked the next cask for SOS too.
Yes, I did. Don let me have a try of that as well.
What'd you think
That
of
should
that?
be very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'll be a little bit cheaper, and then I think it'll be more approachable on like a larger scale. Just because it's not as
Yeah.
out there. Like the
Yeah.
amber whiskey was definitely
Yeah.
like there's a little bit for something, maybe for some, and then not for some, and then just like if it depending, like again, your mood, what you ate, what you drank,
Yeah.
what you like. It's one of those bottles where you go back every time and you're like, okay, I get something completely different. So I think the one that if you tried, it's more neutral to maybe a lot more people.
For me, right, which and I love this. The amber whiskey was a little bit spiky in that you really get like strong like brown butter notes. You really get like strong brown sugar notes. Those kinds of things. And I really love that about whiskeys. Um, and I also love when you get a really well integrated whiskey, right? And for me, the one that you tried, without saying anything, right, without giving anything away, it was a really well integrated set of flavors.
Yeah, and it
And
was
I
neat
think
because I just like going there and be like, oh, let's talk about it. And I'm like, well, what do you got and what's coming or what can we try or what can we lay down? He's like, well, I got some of this in the back type thing, and I'm like, can I try some? And he's like in there, he's like trying to open the cork and whatever, and he like I think he smashed his finger off the racking in the back, and he's like standing on top of the skid. So I mean, it's always a fun adventure when you go to Last Straw. Well, at least I mean, maybe some of us get more of an adventure than another, but yeah, it came out. It's nice. The barrel char in the glass, and again, it's another oily one. It's shocking how they can do something like 3 to 6 years old, and it's still got that nice oiliness. And even though that barrel's only been in there what like a month, like recast in that barrel, I feel you get enough for those notes off the barrel that it's in that it's good now, but I'm kind of curious. Like, I think we're gonna wait a few more weeks, and I'll go and like see if we can get like a little bit more. I'd like to get a little bit more of the note.
do you, I mean, do you remember and are you willing to say what the grain was?
Yeah, it's rye,
Okay.
and it
So that's
currently
cool.
was at like 49.5% ish.
That's cask
Um,
strength.
is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come out of the cask at that strength. So, yes, technically.
Yeah, I guess. Which might people might hinder because like oh it's under 50%. But I mean, I thought it was super into like I'd be like I was almost like if I didn't know that it'd only been a month, and I think we can maybe squeeze another few weeks or another month under and maybe get a little bit better color, and then maybe I just want to. It's got a lot of berry notes that I wanna play on if I can get those out of there. I don't know if you remember that tasting it, but there was a lot of the from the previous cask. So I'm excited. And in my head, I'm trying to think of like, do we do a sticker? And if we did, what can we do? And
Mhm.
I kind of got like an office thing I kind of want to do maybe with that, like a play on a play. Maybe I don't know. Let's see. When I go next time, I'll have to get a sample, and then I gotta let Joel try it. Um,
We'll have to see if we can try and get Don's face on a sticker.
yeah, that's true. We could do that. We could play like an office thing and then have Don's face on.
We could put Don in a suit.
It'd be funny to see him dressed though.
Remember that powder blue suit you wanted him to wear?
Oh, true. You gotta get him to wear one of those to whatever whiskey event you guys.
Whiskey Global.
Just the empty. I don't know. Are you done yet?
No,
glass?
I poured the whole thing.
So there's like a really nice like white chocolate kind of note now.
Oh yeah.
Maybe like
Yes, that is
or
100% the notes. I've been thinking about what is that? What is that? What is that? And it was
or
like around like berries. You were mentioning
yeah
berries.
or
I wasn't sure if I was being like
or you know
suggested.
in the like trail mix sometimes you get like that white yogurt one, that white yogurt piece, whatever the chewy white one is. It's you like yogurt or something.
Yes.
Kind of like a
Sort
fruity
of a
yogurt.
white chocolate yogurt
Yeah,
covered thingamajig.
something. Yeah, whatever it is. But that I get like a lot of that now. Like I'm saying like all the time. It's tasty. I don't know. I like it. It's good. It's nice when you go and you have something and you're totally not expecting anything. You're like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah. Especially for $40, right? Like,
Because I'm trying to think of like, well, I mean, we did the Hanson, the rough stock was pretty tasty too. Like completely the other direction. Because I find this one's more desserty, sweety.
yes.
The other one was a little bit more because obviously the grain is completely different. So, but I'll have to reach out to them and find out if they're willing to divulge what the blend is of what it is.
If you do, it'll be I'll edit it and do some post magic and put it on the vid. Well,
We can.
why don't we round this one out by saying thank you very much. The Broken Paddle. What's the whiskey called?
Whitewater.
The Whitewater Broken Paddle is the
Yes.
Broken Paddle is the name of the whiskey.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.